So the answer is given to us, it is DACB, but we must not be again concerned with the answer. We are here to find as to why the answer is DACB. And A says, but Eratosthenes and many of the Roman geographers, even after Ptolemy, were not content with this agnosticism. So the statement has two issues. Firstly, it begins with the conjunction but, and secondly, it says that we're not content with this agnosticism, right? So we don't know what exactly this refers to. So A is not likely to start the paragraph. This is what it seems. The writers who thus curtailed, again, we don't have reference for this. If this were the fact, so again, so I have to come to D, and it says here, we have seen that Ptolemy, with true scientific caution, had left undefined the extent of Africa to the south. So it is a broad idea. It looks like an opening statement, and it seems to introduce some kind of topic. What is that topic? We have seen that Ptolemy, with true scientific caution, had left undefined the extent of Africa to the south, right? What could be the next sentence? It could be anything. D starts. You can say, if this were the fact, the voyage of by the ocean of this sweep offshore would be even shorter. If this were the fact. So if he had left undefined, then what has that to do with the shortness of the voyage? There is no logical link, so C cannot be the next statement. The writers who thus curtail Africa of its true proportions assumed another continent south of it. It's quite possible the writers who thus curtail thus could refer to basically the undefined extent of Africa. But we must try to find a better link. It says the writers who thus curtail Africa to its true proportions assumed another continent south of it, which, however, was in the torrid zone and completely uninhabitable. But see, these are two different ideas. The writers who thus curtailed Africa of its true proportions assumed another continent. Ptolemy did not define, he left it undefined. But while option B says that they assumed another continent. So there is a huge difference between what is given in D and what is given in B. Let's try to link D with A. A says, but Eratosthenes and many of the Roman geographers were not, even after Ptolemy, were not content with this agnosticism. What is agnosticism? Saying that I am not very clear about something. So agnosticism basically means not sure. That is what the word means, agnosticism. So this agnosticism is basically the leaving the extent undefined. So this is the link now. So we have DA as the link. Why? Because it says we have seen that Ptolemy, with true scientific caution, had left undefined the extent of Africa to the south. But the others were not content with this agnosticism, but boldly assumed that the coast of Africa made a semicircular sweep from the right horn of Africa, just south of the Red Sea, with which they were acquainted, round to the northwestern shore near what we term Morocco. So this was the assumption of the others, right? If this were the fact, so basically if this assumption were the fact, the voyage by the ocean along this sweep would be even shorter than the voyage around the Mediterranean, while of course there would be no need for disembarking at the Isthmus of Suez, right? The writers who thus curtail Africa of its true proportions assumed another continent. So basically what is happening, they assumed that the coast of Africa made a semicircular sweep from the right horn of Africa. So they say basically that this is how Africa looks, right? This is how the African continent looks, and this is where the Mediterranean. So basically they thought that from the right horn, this continent goes like this. There is no extension. And then it says, if this were the fact, if the continent swept like this, right, the voyage of the ocean along this sweep would be even shorter. But the continent was not like this, it was going like this actuality. So C basically challenges this explanation of statement C, challenges this explanation. It says that they made a semicircular sweep from the right horn of Africa just south of the Red Sea, with which they were acquainted round to the. So if this were the fact, the voyage taken would be the voyage by the ocean along this sweep of shore would be even shorter. That means you have DA, and then you have basically the criticism of what is given in A. The writer who thus curtailed Africa of its true proportions assumed another continent south of it, which however was in the torrid zone. So they assumed basically that there was another continent south of it. Why should they assume that? Because the journey factor. So if there was no another continent, then they should have taken a sweep like this. But they assumed that there was one more continent, that's why they had to go like this. So basically DACB becomes the link and is the right answer.